are Christina and Kallie, and this is the Unwrapped Podcast.
Hey guys, we are from Wound Care Advantage. It's a wound care support company. We're not going to get into the weeds today with WCA, but that's who we're with. And so for this pilot episode, we just wanted to, introduce ourselves and kind of explain why we're doing this podcast. So really, Christina and I are both in agreement, like wound care needs awareness. But everything out there content-wise is so boring and it's so just like stagnant. So we wanted to, bring this podcast to everyone, to the industry, to patients, and really show that like wound care is fun, wound care is important, but we can talk about hard things in like a very refreshing way that's not just a webinar or very scripted. You'll learn Christina and I are not someone to read off a script, and you'll soon, learn that. But we're just really excited to start this and, see where the podcast takes us. But with that, Christina, first time I met you, it was like love at first sight. You were like, she is an amazing woman. And the more I got to know you, your background, things like that, I just literally gravitate towards you. So tell our audience, how did you get here? What is your background?
Yeah, so my wound care journey, I always love to tell this story because it's like not the traditional route that everyone normally takes to wound care. Quite honestly, I think once you get into wound care, it's never like traditional anyway. It's kind of an accident. But mine was a total fluke. I started off in the industry as an LVN. And during nursing school, I vividly remember doing wound care, and I'll never forget my first wound. We never do. My first wound was a sacral wound, and I remember the nurse was like, "Oh, we're going to do a wound vac." And I'm like, "Okay, what is that?" She takes down the old dressing, and I kid you not, this one was huge. Like I saw her spine. It was insane, but I was like, that is so cool. And I remember that nurse looking at me and was like, "You think that's cool?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Okay, I think you like wound care." And that was just kind of it. I got really lucky that I found Wound Care Advantage, and I just got the amazing support from Mike and everyone at the company to help me grow and learn. And 15 years later, here I am. I started in the company as a wound care nurse actually started as the front office, and then I started in our local facility and kind of just worked my way up and continued to learn the business, and my passion for wound care just grew. And I love it so much, and I love this side that you and I are on of teaching education and just kind of making a dent in the wound care world where it's not the same old, same old. And you said such a great thing. If like we're tired of it being boring and stagnant and like uninteresting. And, I just feel like wound care is not boring. And, at Wound Care Advantage, we love to be innovative. And I just want to share that with everyone and kind of all the cool stuff that you're working on. You're phenomenal. I like love you so much as well. And I can't wait for you to share your background because I think it's so important of why we do what we do and the material we bring out and why it's so impactful. But yeah, I just have a heart for nurses. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm a nurse, but new grads and nurses that are out there that just don't even know how to get into wound care. But more than that, I think you and I talked like our dream for this podcast is to be all encompassing, right? Like wound care, but also in nursing, understanding research, understanding financials as a wound care nurse, maybe our personal lives of like, how can I buy a house or how can I, just all the things that kind of fall in line with our everyday. I think that would be so cool to just talk about. But yeah, our plan is so that our audience knows, we want to talk about like what's happening in the wound care world or in the world in general right now. Bring in cool and smarter people than us that could talk about certain topics, but to give you guys that knowledge that you guys can listen to on your way to work. Cause I know some of you guys have really long commutes, or, something playing in the background while you're working. That's kind of my vision for it as well. But Kallie, share about your experience, please, and how like you guys came to be. You guys have no idea how lucky we are to get Kallie with the company. And yeah, we're disgusting in that we're like obsessed with each other and we love each other so much and love working together. But yeah, Kallie, how did you get to WCA? How'd you find us?
Yeah, it was really, really weird actually. So I feel like it starts with my dad. I can't believe it's going to be 9 years this spring. So 9 years ago, my dad was diagnosed with 4 years gangrene, which as a wound care nurse, you know how nasty that is. So he's paralyzed. Anyways, where we were living at the time, we just didn't have a great wound care support. And so I really just watched my dad like deteriorate over a period of 9 months. It was like no one knew how to put a wound back on after surgery, right? So we went 10 days without a wound back. That, like, those 10 days, it was like crucial. Um, at that time, I was getting my undergrad and I had no idea what wound care was. I was literally going to school to be an English teacher. And I continued that journey, even after losing my dad. I was like, I wish he could see me graduate. I wish he could see me get married, all these things. And so I was a teacher for over 5 years, teaching high school English, and I loved it. To this day, I'm still a teacher at heart. But it was really after I got my master's degree that I was like, I want to do more. I don't feel like I'm making the impact I want to in our public school system, right? Because it's very much, here's a white binder, teach it. And I'm like, no, 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 I want to build a curriculum. I want to get people excited about learning. And so it was after some personal things that I went through that I was like, I need to take a step back and I need to find something that matters. And it really just scrolling on LinkedIn, I found an opening for an LMS administrator through Wound Care Advantage. And I was like, Wound Care Advantage? What's that? Did some digging and I was like, oh my, like I'm literally getting chills because I'm like, this is it. This is wound care, right? Like I want to help so not other little girls or little boys lose a parent to a non-healing wound, right? And so it was just that I knew I had the skill set as a teacher to help build, a learning management system and run it, things like that. And just from there, the more I got to know like you, Christina, and our other colleagues, Mike, our CEO, it was just like, this is it. This is the place, right? This is how, I can help make a difference. And it's because of Wound Care Advantage. It's because of you, Christina, that I feel like we really are making an impact to really bring awareness to wound care and how important it is that patients are getting the help that they need and, the care that they need and making sure that we are practicing good standard of care. Right. Your educational videos that you put out, Christina, like how to put a wound back on. Like if I had access to that 9 years ago, who knows? Like, I'm not saying that my dad would still be here today, but he could have not gone through the pain and like just like the hardships over those 9 months, right? We might have been able to get a grasp on it, know what to do next. And so yeah, that's just really what's guiding my mission to like bring awareness, build education around wound care, and not just for clinicians, but patients as well, because they're part of their healing journey. So you'll definitely kind of see or hear me as well, just talk about the importance of patient education and making sure that clinicians have access to really good content that will help them make better choices for their patients. And as Christina said, our topics that we want to discuss are all over the place. I would love to dive deeper into what it means to be a teacher that's like, what the classroom.
Yes, I was hoping you'd say that. I was hoping you'd say that because I have so many teacher friends that want to get into something else. Teachers are phenomenal. I think they're the backbone of all of like everybody, right? We all need a teacher, and I think your story is so impactful for them that there are the other options. And you can get into healthcare. Like there's so much, and I'm really excited to learn more about that from you.
Yeah. And I know we've discussed this in the past too, but you've always said like when you get out of nursing school, you don't have to go straight to bedside, right? There are other options. And I think, bringing that to the forefront as well for all these, young individuals going through nursing school, but knowing like that's not what they want to do. They want something else. And I think bringing your knowledge and your insights, especially through your experiences, is so helpful and beneficial to these newer, clinicians because like you said, we can't live without teachers. We can't live without healthcare workers. Literally, right? When things hit the fan, that's who we go to. So like all of our, public service workers as well would love to be able to have conversations, with our policemen, with our EMTs, our firemen, things like that. Because wound care really is in every scope of it. Like we've all been there. We've all had a family member with a wound. We've all had a colleague with a wound. It could heal on a normal healing path, but it takes that one wound to just go off in its completely different direction. So
Yeah, and if you guys haven't figured out the trend, we both have a passion for people. Wound Care Advantage, as a whole, our mission is always patient care comes
Mhm.
first. And so that's really what this is about. And it's more than just, patients themselves. It's everything that surrounds them and nurses who are taking care of them, teachers who are taking care of them, their
Mhm.
parents, their kids, kind of just all of it. And that's why we want to do it. So that's what you guys have to look forward to. Just a bunch of different topics. And we'd actually love for you guys to suggest stuff.
Mhm.
It could be education that you're not getting. It could be a topic that you want to discuss more. So stay tuned, you guys.
Yeah.
We're really excited about this, and we hope you guys are too. And we'll tune in for our next episode.
Yeah, which I'm super excited about because it's industry related. And so we're really hoping to get out, meaningful content that actually helps you guys. And like Christina said, please send in things. The sky's the limit. Whatever we can discuss, ultimately it helps, not today's patients, but tomorrow's patients as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So see you guys there.
Thank you for listening to the Unwrapped Podcast. We hope that you found the information and insights provided to be helpful in your wound care journey. If you have any questions you'd like to be answered on the podcast, we invite you to connect with us on Instagram or LinkedIn and place your question under the Unwrapped Podcast post. We look forward to bringing you more wound care insights. Thank you for listening.